Welcome back to Hardball. New York Times columnist Charles M. Blow wanted a better sense of the mind and mood of the country of the right, and so he immersed himself in conservative media. He wrote in Saturday's New York Times, "My read, they're apocalyptic. They feel isolated, angry, betrayed, and besieged, and some of their leaders seem to be trying to mold them into militias." There's also been talk from some on the right of a revolution. One of their chief concerns is gun rights. Joining us now, the author of the column, Charles Blow of the New York Times, and Alan Gottlieb of the Second Amendment Foundation. And Alan, let's start with you. Do you believe that the Obama administration and the feds are coming to take away everybody's guns?
I believe that's what they'd like to do. I don't think we're going to let them get away with it. But if you look at Obama's record back from when he was a state senator...
To be honest, do you believe that that's what they're planning? Do you believe that they are planning to come and take everybody's guns away?
Well, let's put it this way. Attorney General Eric Holder has already made that announcement that he'd like to do it. Hillary Clinton's talked about it.
Where did he make the announcement? Where did he say he's coming to take your guns away?
He'd like to put back in a ban on so-called assault weapons, or what we call sport utility.
Right, but that's very different from taking everybody's guns away, which is the kind of stuff Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh and others have said. And the reason I asked this...
Well, hold on a second.
No,
hold on a second. He also filed an amicus brief with the U.S. Supreme Court saying people didn't have an individual right to keep and bear arms in the Washington, D.C. case when the court struck down the gun ban there. So there's no doubt they support gun bans.
Well, actually, there's a lot of doubt.
There's no doubt
that they want to get rid of assault weapons. But here's the issue, because Richard Poplawski killed 3 police officers in Pittsburgh a couple days ago because he thought President Obama and others and the feds were coming to take his guns away. And I guess my question is, Charles, to you, who's responsible for that? Is it this deranged guy, or how much of a factor is this stuff that's out there in the right-wing megaphone contributing to this this thought process of these people?
Right. I don't know what's happening in his case yet, and he will go to trial. We'll find out more about his case. But I think that what's happening in that echo chamber is very dangerous, because it only takes a couple of people or one person to do something that with the gun that is very irresponsible, that leads to something like this. And I feel like if you are going to let these people ramble on, if they feel like that's a responsible way to use the platform that they have, then that's very unfortunate.
Well, speaking of responsibility, let's run the clip. Here's Glenn Beck talking about fascism being on the march, and here's the visual image that he used. Watch.
We said, enough. Now on with the other guy. We're going to go to the other guy and put him in power. And now that that's happened, people are realizing, wait a minute, grass isn't any greener on the other side. In fact, it's the exact same color. Americans on both sides now are saying, hang on, haven't I seen this movie before? Enough!
Alan, what's your reaction to that? Putting aside whether you think the Obama administration is right or wrong on their gun policy, when somebody uses Nazi imagery to try to make any point about the political discourse now, is that ever appropriate?
Well, let's put it this way. It pales into insignificance compared to the vitriol aimed at President Bush by Obama and his supporters. But if you look at the recent Pew Research poll...
Alan, name one supporter
Wait, if you look at the recent Pew Research poll put out on polarization, Barack Obama is the most polarizing president that we've had in over 4 decades.
And whose fault is that? Whose fault is that,
I think it's
Alan?
Barack Obama's fault. It's his rhetoric and it's his supporters.
His rhetoric, which is causing people to use Nazi imagery. Here's my issue.
Nationalizing the banking industry, calling for socialization.
Alan, anybody who uses Nazi imagery diminishes the significance of World War II, the sacrifices this country made to begin with. Anybody who would suggest that FEMA camps are like concentration camps, which is what Glenn Beck has been suggesting, minimizes the significance of what happened with World War II. And isn't that a dangerous place for a country to be going?
I agree it minimizes it. So it's just like Barack Obama supporters minimized a lot of things by claiming we were becoming a police state under George Bush. The same kind of rhetoric they use, the same kind of imagery they use. The bottom line is this doesn't help at all. But when it comes right out of the White House with programs, policies, economic things that scare the hell out of the American people, in politics, every reaction has an opposite and equal reaction. And you're seeing a reaction to what the Obama administration is doing.
So, Charles Blow, your reaction to the idea that somehow it's Barack Obama's fault that some in the right-wing echo chamber are using Nazi symbols to get people riled up?
I think that argument's laughable. I mean, I think that what we have to remember about this particular issue is, if you scrape the bottom on the left or the right, either one of those barrels, you're going to come up with something ugly. The problem is when people with a bigger reach than just the people in the blogs online start using this kind of language, this kind of imagery, and at the same time pushing people out to say, Barack Obama is going to take away your guns. And so the reason that people start to buy the guns is because they're afraid of the government. That is a very dangerous combination of events.
People have legitimate reasons to be fearing the government right now. It's nationalizing industries. It's nationalizing industries. It's trying to control people's health care. It's infringing on gun rights in lots of different ways with executive orders and things the administration is doing behind the scenes. Believe me, there's a lot of fear out there, and it's being propagated by administration. All they have to do is come out and say, we're not going to do these things,
and we should confront that fear with guns, and we should confront that fear with guns.
No, I'm not saying confront the fear with guns, but that doesn't mean you can't own one. And if you think the government might take your rights away from you, you want to try and exercise them before that happens. It's a normal reaction. Everybody does it, left or right. In fact, a lot of people buying guns are first-time gun owners who happen to be liberal Democrats.
Okay, a lot of people buying guns are also not liberal Democrats. Across the spectrum, people are buying guns. People have written this story in newspapers across the country, and when they ask people why they're buying guns, they're afraid that the government will infringe on that right. That is a dangerous situation. It is a dangerous situation. It's dangerous because the government shouldn't be doing it, but it's a legitimate fear that Americans have based on statements made by elected public officials. Okay.
Like what? Name one statement, Al, just so we're clear. Name one statement that is not a statement from Rush Limbaugh or Glenn Beck or Sean Hannity. What statement from President Obama has given what you call people a legitimate fear?
President Obama has tried to duck the issue a lot, but it's his spokesman, his administration. Attorney General Eric Holder.
We're just trying to be specific here.
Hillary Clinton. I mean, blaming Americans' gun ownership, blaming Americans who own guns for the crime happening in Mexico, which is totally absurd. I mean, things of that nature. We need to crack down on guns in the United States. Oh,
Alan,
yes, she
that's
did
not
say
what she
that.
said. Try again.
Oh, yes, she did. No, she did say that. I'm sorry. I have the quotes.
Alan, you're not entitled to your own facts, and I think that's part of the problem with this entire debate is when the right-wing echo chamber comes up with their own facts and their own analogies and says that fascism is on the march and that FEMA's creating concentration camps. You get some of these nutcases who are going to take matters into their own hands.
I never said FEMA's doing concentration camps or
right,
taking matters in their own hands.
We
have a ballot box and a jury box, and we're going to beat Barack Obama's gun bans that way.
Well, that's the right way to do it. I just can't understand why so many people don't understand that. In any case,
but we have every right to organize our people and get them active and get them energized so they know what's happening.
Right, but you don't have every right to essentially inspire some of the crazies out there to do something violent because they think fascism is on the march. In any case,
we're not inquiring
Alan Gottlieb, thanks for coming on. Charles Blow from the New York Times, thank you very much. We appreciate it, as always. Do you believe that the Obama administration and the feds are coming to take away everybody's guns?
I believe that's what they'd like to do. I don't think we're going to let them get away with it.
To be honest, do you believe that that's what they're planning? Do you believe that they are planning to come and take everybody's guns away? Where did he make the announcement? Where did he say he's coming to take your guns away?
He'd like to put back in a ban on so-called assault weapons, or what we call sport utility.
Right, but that's very different from taking everybody's guns away, which is the kind of stuff Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh and others have said. And the reason I asked this...
Well, hold on a second.
No,
hold on a second. He also filed an amicus brief with the U.S. Supreme Court saying people didn't have an individual right to keep and bear arms in the Washington, D.C. case when the court struck down the gun ban there. So there's no doubt they support gun bans.
Well, actually, there's a lot of doubt.
There's
no doubt that they want to get rid of assault weapons. But here's the issue, because Richard Poplawski killed 3 police officers in Pittsburgh a couple days ago because he thought President Obama and others and the feds were coming to take his guns away. Who's responsible for that? Is it this deranged guy, or how much of a factor is this stuff that's out there in the right-wing megaphone contributing to this this thought process of these people?
Right.
Where did he make the announcement? Where did he say he's coming to take your guns away?
He also filed an amicus brief with the U.S. Supreme Court saying people didn't have an individual right to keep and bear arms in the Washington, D.C. case when the court struck down the gun ban there.